Having 3D models on the UI is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time, and I just never took the time to figure it out. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get the same effect with an animated model on your UI with very little effort. Hey, Chris here from LlamAcademy, here to help you. Who, me? Yes, you! Make your game dev dreams become a reality by helping you make cool effects on your user interface. Now, this is something I've wanted to do since my very first game, and I never took the time to figure it out. It kept getting pushed back for other features. After implementing this into Llama Survival, I found out this is incredibly easy to do. All you have to do is create a render texture with a format that's supported on the platform that you're targeting, set up that 3D model that you want to see, have a camera that's pointed to that, rendering to the render texture, and that's it. You show that render texture on the UI on a raw image, and you got that 3D model there. There are some gotchas along the way that could really throw you off here, so let's hop in and see how can we set it up and talk about all those different use cases. If we want to show a 3D model on the UI, the first thing we need to do is have that 3D model that we want to see. So I already have dragged in this standard assets robot thing, and this is included in the repository. The next thing we need is a camera that will render this character. Anytime we don't want to show this on the UI, we can simply disable this camera and make sure that the image that we're going to render this to is not displayed. What I like to do is make sure that the clipping planes are very close, so we're showing a very limited preview, and also make sure we're only going to render specific layers. That way I don't get any other objects I'm trying to render on the UI in this camera's view. So on the culling mask, I click nothing, and then we'll see the preview shows nothing. I'll select only the layer I want it to display. In this case, I'm choosing the enemy layer. You can create your own special layer that only is used for this UI overlay. Since you're limited on physics layers, I would recommend to only use one. Also remember that each camera that you render has some not insignificant overhead. If you're running into performance problems, you might choose a lower quality renderer for your UI previews. Right now I only have one configured. I'm using URP. I'll turn on FXAA because that's pretty fast. Shadows are one huge performance killer, so you can optionally turn those off. And usually, since we're going to render this to a texture, I don't want to see the skybox in the environment. Instead, we can choose solid color, maybe make it black, and I'll set the alpha for now to be 0, so a totally transparent background. Under the output, if we choose a texture here, that's exactly what we're going to actually want it to do. We want it to render the output of this camera to a texture so we can display it on the UI. So I've created a textures folder. We'll right click, create, render texture. For dimension, since we're going to show this on the UI, we're going to choose 2D. In most cases, I think you're probably going to want to use 2D here. The size, the higher resolution, the higher quality, and more memory it takes up. Anti-aliasing, probably you don't want to use for a UI preview, but you can optionally turn that on as well. If you turn on enable compatible format, if you select a color format that's not supported on your target platform, Unity will automatically choose a different one for you, which is probably good because the color format list is very large and the documentation names of these don't line up to what you see here, so it's a little bit confusing. That's probably a good one, provided it's supported by my target platform. I'm saying good because they are relatively low size, because we're only using 8 bits of color here, and the resulting output is still pretty good. I've got a link to the Unity documentation on this, where it has a table telling you the quality and the supported platforms. Next, for the depth stencil format, very similarly, how many bits are supported on that depth. I'm going to use the lowest depth because I do want the alpha coming from the camera, but I don't need to be super duper precise. Most likely you don't want to enable bitmaps. If you want a dynamic resolution, you can turn on dynamic scaling, and most likely for wrap mode and filter mode, you can leave those alone as clamp and bilinear. You can also optionally turn on shadow sampling mode, which would give you a higher quality result. Here I've turned off the shadows, so I'm going to leave that as none. Once I've created this render texture, we can select this camera again and select that as the output texture. Now that we're actually rendering the output of a camera to a texture, what we can do is show this on the UI. I'll switch to the 2D view. And on the UI, you're going to want to select a raw image. That's right click, UI, raw image, and that should be underneath a canvas. If you don't already have a canvas, when you click raw image, it'll create one for you. You can also optionally add the shadow. I think that adds some pretty cool effect. For the texture, we can select that player preview render texture. And if we only do that, let's click play. There we go. You can see we do not have to attach a material. You can, and then you can do cool shader effects on top of this render texture. But we see our player with a little shadow from the UI shadow. If we turn that off, you see that goes away. Because this idle animation moves very slowly, it kind of doesn't really look like it's moving. So what we can do, play with the animator to set them moving, and we'll actually see as that animator updates, we see those updates on this UI. Now what's cool is we can change this render texture settings in the editor and we'll see the updates live. So we can see if something, maybe our color format doesn't work for whatever effect we're trying to get. We can also change the camera properties at runtime. For example, we can toggle on and off shadows. You'll see some subtle shadows show up. One thing I will say that if you want to use post-processing, notice when I turn that on, we get a black background. That's because the post-processing stack in URP doesn't preserve all of the alpha. So we get this black texture as a background all of the time, and you can't get rid of that if you enable post-processing using at least the standard processing stack. I heard Unity was working on that, but it's a more complicated problem to solve. It might not be bad to have your background like this. Notice if we change the background color, even that background color is affected by the post-processing. If you choose like a gray color that matches our background, and then you could put a border around this, and it might look like you intentionally wanted it to do that, and that could be fine. So just keep that in mind. If you want to have that transparent background, you cannot enable post-processing, at least in URP using the standard post-processing stack. If you do want to have that background, you can simply up the alpha of this clear and you'll get that background color to show up. Interestingly, if you use a color that's non-black, you get a little outline around your render texture. You can repeat this process for as many different things you want to have animated 3D models on. Just keep in mind that having multiple cameras rendering multiple things increases your draw calls, increases the overhead, so you really need to watch the performance of that. One last important note, whenever you create a camera, it usually comes with an audio listener. If you're using one of these cameras showing a 3D model, make sure to remove that. Otherwise you'll get spammed with warnings about there being multiple audio listeners in the scene, and there should always be exactly one. See, really not that hard to get it working. And of course, once you've rendered it onto the UI, there's all kinds of different things you can do, like play with the animator with some scripts, have the user input like rotate the object, all kinds of stuff. The one thing I've talked about multiple times already that I really want to drive home here is the performance of this. You really need to watch out for. You can very easily murder your performance by having way too high quality thing, having too many of these active, or using a too high quality render featured, where it just, you can't tell the difference between that and a lower quality one. So make sure you really profile this, because it's a really easy way for you to mess up the performance of your game. I'm a little bit embarrassed that it took me this long to figure out how to make the 3D model show up on the UI. But if you got value out of this video, go ahead and like and subscribe to help the channel grow, reach more people, and add value to more people. There's new videos posted every tutorial Tuesday. And if you want to help support this channel, you can go to patreon.com/LlamAcademy, get your name up here on the screen, get a voice shout out starting at the awesome tier, some other cool perks at the tremendous and phenomenal tier. Speaking of those voice shout outs starting at the awesome tier, there's Gerald Anderson, Autumn K, Matt Parkin, Ivan, and Rulin. And at the phenomenal tier, there's Andrew Bowen and Andrew Albright. Thank you all for your support. I am so incredibly grateful.